You know, here at Urban Rivers, people always ask us, how do you choose all of your plants? The secret is Peter chooses them.
This is correct. I do choose them. I'm Peter Nagle. I'm curator of aquatics at the Chicago Botanic Garden. I also work on the site with Urban Rivers as the plant ecologist and curator. We use native plant species for our floating wetlands. We're trying to bring in native plants not only for the fauna, the pollinators, the muskrats, the ducks, the waterfowl, all those guys, but also we're wanting to promote native species and get people in the city aware of that they even exist. So in 2021 install, the idea of that section, and really it was going to be a continuation throughout the Wild Mile, was as you enter from Eastman, you were going to walk down and it's going to be like you're walking up a slope. So you're walking into the emergence zone. Those are more so the plant species that you're going to find over there. And then as you keep walking, you might get into the sedge meadow, and eventually the height was going to be lifted up into more of the grass species, and then even into a tree grove was the original idea. You know, things change, the plantings and as well as the hydrology changes as these gardens settle. We found that some of the areas were a little bit more wet than we anticipated, so the species composition had changed a little bit. Also, at that time, you're definitely still learning what works and what doesn't work along these floating wetlands. So we use a lot of hibiscus, we use a lot of Juncus effusus, these are the native species, and we use those plantings because of different challenges that we had with the different kind of module designs that we had at that point. So Juncus effusus was used quite a bit because we struggled with winter cover. So we have structure from the Juncus effusus throughout the seasons, and that helps actually cover up the plastic and reduces the amount of degradation that could occur, as well as just cover it up from an aesthetic point of view. The other issue or species that we used was Hibiscus mochudos, and the reason why we used that plant, didn't realize it would explode as much as it did, but we knew from our previous installs that the Juncus as well as the hibiscus could outcompete weeds. And so limit the amount of maintenance that could be done at that point, but Urban Rivers has done a great job of building out their volunteer program and teaching folks how to do the weeding and maintenance throughout here. So overall, in this 2024 section, I wanted to do higher densities of Juncus effusus, having more of like sort of monoculture with little bits of verbena and other flowering species that can kind of get above the Juncus so that it has a splash of color, but still the theme is more of a monoculture with Juncus effusus. And when you have those monocultures, it can kind of create more of a calming effect. Whereas when you're over in our other sections that are a little bit older, you can kind of feel a little cramped in with the taller species. So this is supposed to be a little bit more open. The issue with the openness is that we're struggling with bringing in shade. So this is a pretty hot section of the Wild Mile, and we're in discussions of trying to create maybe something that can create more shade. And that might be vines or trying to train maybe Salix sculler, for instance, into an arch form. These are some of the ideas that we've been floating around.